Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about 8259, that means programmable interrupt controller. The programmable interrupt controller is a tool for managing the interrupt request and functions as an overall manager in an interrupt driven system environment. Means to receive, to handle, to process the interrupts, we use 8259, that is the programmable interrupt controller. It accepts the request from peripheral equipments, determines which of the incoming request is of highest priority, and according to the priority, it will assign those interrupts to the handler. It can handle up to 8 vectored priority interrupts, and in cascading mode of 8259, we can handle up to 64 level of interrupts. It can be programmed either in level triggered or edge triggered interrupt level. It has an interrupt priority resolver which can be programmed into fixed priority mode and rotating priority mode. Fixed priority mode and rotating priority mode means either we fix the priority of each and every interrupt, or we can rotate their priority on the basis of their interrupt sequence. 8259 interrupt handler or interrupt controller are used for handling the interrupts, and interrupts are used to handle the routines. There are two types of interrupts, like maskable and non-maskable, which we have already discussed earlier. For interrupts from multiple sources, an external device, that is PIC, means 8259 can be used. So 8259 is connected with multiple interrupt sources, and it will give a single interrupt to processor for handling. Main purpose of 8259 is to do the task of calling the ISR. ISR stands for interrupt service routine based on the interrupt priority. It acts as a multiplexer as it combines multiple interrupt inputs into a single interrupt request. As in this diagram, multiple requests are there for processing. Out of these multiple requests, 8259 will check the priority and give one by one to processor. Features of 8259. It supports 8 interrupts inputs. A single 8259 can handle 8 interrupts, and multiplexing of 8259 or cascading of 8 8259s can give 64 interrupt sources to 1. Set priorities for interrupts and provide different interrupt vector address. Here, no clock is required. This is the block diagram for 8259. In this block diagram, we have data bus buffer, that means data bus, a read-write control logic which have read-write, chip select and A0 signal. Then cascade mode. For cascade mode, we can have CAS0, CAS1, CAS2 signals, and SPEN. SPEN acts as chip select signal as it enables or disables the cascade mode. All these blocks are connected with internal bus, and internal bus is further connected with IRR, that means interrupt request register. All the interrupt devices are connected with interrupt request register. Then interrupt request register is connected with priority resolver to resolve the priority, and then priority resolver is connected with ISR, that means in service register. In service register has the control or has the data of interrupt which is currently in the processing. Any of these stages, the masking can be done. Masking can be done using IMR, that means interrupt mask register. So interrupt mask register is connected with all these 3 blocks, means an interrupt can be masked on this stage, also here, and it can be masked here. Masking means to pause that interrupt and handle the higher priority interrupt. Out of these 8 interrupts, one will be given to ISR, then ISR will provide that interrupt to processor's interrupt signal. So interrupt signal is an outgoing signal over here. Now this is the 8259 pin diagram. In 8259 we have 28 pins. Again it is a DIP, means dual inline package. In dual inline package the pins are on left and right side. As it is 28 pin, so 14 pins are on left and 14 pins are on right side. In these pins, cascade 0, cascade 1 and cascade 2 signals are there as shown in the block diagram. IR0 to IR7 means 8 interrupt request signals are there. 1 INT acknowledge and INT means interrupt signal. 8-bit data bus is there. Read, write, chip select, control logic signals are there. VCC and ground power supply signals are there. So these are the signals in the 8259. In 8259, INT stands for interrupt. INTA means interrupt acknowledgement. SP bar, EN bar means slave master or enable disable. So if we are using 8259 in cascading mode, then we have to use this signal. IR0 to IR7 means 8 interrupt request signals, means 8259 signals IR0 to IR7 are connected with 8 different interrupt sources. Then cascade buffer 8259 can be used in cascaded mode. So each 8259 can be connected with 2 more 8259s. If you want more interrupt signals, then we can connect multiple 8259s together, and that is known as cascading mode of 8259. There are 3 interrupt registers: IMR interrupt mask register, IRR interrupt request register, ISR in service register. IMR is used to mask the external interrupt. ISR is used to maintain the list of interrupts that are currently being serviced. IRR to store the interrupts that have been sensed by 8259. Means source is connected with IRR, then service means which is currently in execution will be maintained by ISR, and IMR is used for masking the external interrupt sources. Control words. In 8259 there are 2 types of control words. First is initialization command words and second is operational command words. Initialization command words are represented using ICW. Operational command words are represented using OCW. 8259 system connection and cascading. In 8259, A0 is connected to select 1 or 2 internal registers. A0 is connected to A1 of the system. System means processor. Processor address of 2 pins like this and this address. 8-bit data bus of 8259 is connected to lower 8-bit data bus of 8086. Means the data bus is connected with the data bus. Read and write signal of 8259 is connected with the read and write signal of 8086. INTA means interrupt acknowledge of 8259 is connected with interrupt acknowledge of processor. INT pin of 8259 is connected with the INTR pin of 8086. Now this is the 8259 in cascading mode. Here the 8259 whose SPEN bar pin is connected with VCC means positive 5 volt will act as master. Other whose SPEN pin are connected with ground will be act as slave. So this will become master and this is slave 0 and slave 1. One more difference, the INT means interrupt signal of slave 0 is connected with IR0 of master. Similarly, in this, multiple slaves are there. The last slave, that is slave 7, is connected with the IR7. So it is connected with IR0. It is connected with then IR1, 2, 3 up to IR7. So 0 to 7 means each and every, now this is a master and each slave is accepting 8 interrupts, and we have 8 slaves, each is accepting 8 interrupts, so total 64 interrupts we are handling in the cascading mode of 8259. I took the reference of Ramesh's Gonker book for making these slides. Thank you everyone.